In tonight's Project Immigration Report, we take a look at immigration raids in U.S. workplaces. Recently, Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano has delayed a series of proposed immigration raids. Some say this could signal a policy change. Joining us now live with more is Paramita Shah from the National Immigration Bond Fund, an organization that offers financial assistance to immigrants caught in ICE workplace raids. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So what do you make of the raids? Or I guess the first question is, have you seen an actual delay in immigration raids, or are they still going on?
I think while we're very reassured that Secretary Napolitano made this announcement, just very recently in January of this year, there was a raid in Bellingham, Washington, in which a number of workers were arrested. And I think as a result of that, they've decided to take a step back from the previous administration's policies, which were to conduct haphazard, very aggressive raids across the country in all shapes and forms, workplace and home raids.
Secretary Napolitano, or actually officials at DHS, have said that they want to make the worksite investigations consistent. Tell us what you've seen.
Well, I think we actually, it's a little too early to decide what kind of approach DHS has decided to take. Right now we have one workplace raid that happened in January. We do know that home raids and other types of enforcement actions continue to happen. And you know, I think while we are reassured that Secretary Napolitano is taking, or has announced that she's taking a new direction, I think, you know, we would like to see more in terms of what kind of parameters, what kind of guidelines is she going to roll back from the kind of almost the very abusive tactics they used during the workplace raids in the last 2 years.
So after someone is arrested in one of these raids, how does your organization get involved? What do you do for the person involved?
So the mission of the National Immigrant Bond Fund, which is the name of our organization, is very simple. What we try to do is to institute due process and fairness and some accountability for immigrants detained by immigration officials. And the way that we do that is we helped these immigrants and hardworking members of our society, we help them post bond so that they can get out of jail and help prepare their case.
Now, there are Americans who would say that what you're doing is not necessary, that if someone comes into the country illegally and is working in a job and is caught up in one of these raids, that's what should happen. They should be arrested, they should be detained, they should be deported in many cases.
Right. I think the cornerstone of America's values is having a full and fair hearing, is making sure we have due process at all stages. Even in immigration court, even when you're arrested in an immigration raid or an immigration enforcement action. And I think right now what we have is something very egregious. People don't get access to lawyers, and they're transferred hundreds, if not thousands of miles away from their families, from their lawyers, which really prevents them from helping prepare their case to see if they have a right to stay in the United States.
And there have been cases where people who were here legally, in some cases even born here, were caught up in some of these raids.
Absolutely. It's not just people with no papers who are caught up, legal permanent residents. Sometimes even U.S. citizens have been caught up in these raids where it's very clear that their rights have been violated in some way and that assumptions have been made. But I think more importantly, this is about ensuring that people get a full and fair hearing. And the way that we do that is by letting people post bond, because when they post bond, then they can get out and prepare their case. We're just trying to move this a little closer to what people get in criminal court. They get the free lawyer and they get to stay.
Well, we've got your information up on the screen, your website, nationalimmigrationproject.org.
That's our organization, and our website is actually the www.immigrantbondfund.org. We're a matching fund, and we rely on donations, and you know, any contribution is very helpful to the fund.
Paramita Shah, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Okay.